carry
Hopefully,
it.
future
He,
India coach someday, many years down the line. Hopefully.
I don't think the thing is he seems so disconnected in life. I don't think he'd even want to be with cricket all the time, right? He just chills
Yeah.
in his farm with his bikes and his horses and all kinds of pets he has. He's a very different person. I mean, that's what I think makes him so unique. He's not a typical Indian cricketer who'll come into punditry and do some jazz to make money
Yeah.
is not an object for this
Yeah.
guy,
I
right?
don't see
He's
him
still
becoming a commentator somehow. I don't know.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He's too serious and too genuine. I think he's not flary at all. He's like very
Yeah.
honestly he'll tell and insult somebody without even trying to.
Yeah.
So love to see him next year. I'll be honest. Even though because somehow you are playing with 10+1 with this guy, but that one he does not bat, but he keeps and he gives you that captaincy and that direction, which is invaluable. And we see in so many teams the captains are struggling, but his captaincy still, just to sum it up, the best captain in the country still.
Agreed.
So, my God, I don't. I
Maybe
guess
the
somebody did not
electricity
like
agreed
it,
with you.
or maybe or maybe it was a Kohli or Rohit fan who heard this. So yeah.
Hello all and welcome to a new video on the Third Man Musings. Today we'll be reviewing that mega IPL final which just happened a couple of days back, and what a final it was. The first day got rained out, then we had a match on the second day. Rain came in between the two innings to add to the drama, but it just couldn't stop it from being a mega finale, right? This was a tournament which had great matches, high octane action, 200 plus runs getting chased, some low totals getting defended, and this final, which culminated on the last ball, I think it added the icing to the cake to make it one of the best finals ever and also one of the best IPL editions ever. So a lot to discuss on today's call. But first question, Sumit, have you recovered from the final?
Yes, it was a very long Monday because the match ended at 1:40 a.m. And then obviously there's too much excitement, right? There's too much adrenaline with the kind of finish we had. So it took a long time to sleep. So Tuesday was a bit of a slog in the office. So yeah, took time to recover from that. So again, it lasted 3 days. So I think we'll be lucky if the WTC final also lasts that long. It'll be hilarious if that ends before the IPL final. So it went on for this 3-day mega event, and even the presenters in CricBuzz, they stumbled when they were giving the match review analysis because it was generally 2 a.m. right. So very funny, but I think we needed that final. I really think if it had rained off, then GT would have been champions, and that would have been very unfair on everybody. So I'm happy that at least the match happened. So we can go with the like phase wise how it happened. Start with GT batting first, and as usual, the openers fired. And I think Sahas fired more, which was surprising. Gill looked $1 million. I think he beat Joss's record, like we discussed in our previous video.
Right,
So he
right.
now has the record for the highest number of runs, the second highest after Kohli. And he looked good to beat Kohli's record, I'll be honest. But then that electric stumping, which looks so innocuous because Dhoni just does everything so casually, right? He just flicked the stumps, and Gill was very confident. Okay, that I am in, sab theek hai. He's discussing with Saha, and the replays come, and it's amazing how you normally see stumpings, right, where the batsman's foot is outside, and it takes ages to come inside, and by the time you stumped. But Gill genuinely was very fast with everything.
Right.
The only problem
He
is
pulled his foot back quickly. Yeah.
as quickly as a batsman can when they miss a ball.
Yeah.
But the problem was the person behind him was faster than Flash, I guess. It was zero
Yeah.
point 0.1 seconds. Geo, in fact, showed a highlight with the 0.1 second thing. That was like amazing, and everybody was amazed how he did that, but it was so casual. People just missed it. I think now people are realizing the brilliance around that stumping, which changed the match potentially because Gill was in that kind of form where, anyways, GT makes 200 for fun, but that could have been a 230, 240 wicket with the way he was batting. So I think that one moment of brilliance. I think we keep on talking about Dhoni's role. I mean, as a captain, we'll discuss him more, but as a player, that stumping, I think, won them half the game with the way Gill was batting and how things were set up. So, next one, were you surprised with Sudarshan coming in at 3? Because I was wondering whether they could have sent, a hitter or Pandya himself. So, yeah.
Mm, No, I somehow felt they wanted some cushion in the later overs, right? So
Hmm.
I think Gill's wicket fell somewhere in the seventh or eighth over. So I
Yeah.
think they felt okay. Let Sudarshan go and build a platform, and then maybe the hitters could come from overs number 13 onwards, right?
Totally.
So that is what I felt. And Sudarshan, credit to him, right? I mean,
Yeah.
just 2 days back on the same pitch, he was struggling, right? He had to get, he
Retired,
had to get
retired
retired
out or
retired
retired,
out, right? He had to get
retired out. Huh?
retired out, and Rashid had to come in. But kudos, 2 days later on the same pitch against a more stronger bowling attack, you can even say, right?
Hmm.
I mean, his area of shots were brilliant, right? Whether it be spinners, whether it be fast bowlers, 96 of 47 deliveries on any pitch
No,
is a great innings. And I
it
was
is.
so impressed. I mean, this guy is a batsman of the solid technique. I mean, someday he can make it to the Indian Test cricket team also. He has that good a
Hmm.
technique. But the way he played those shots, I mean, all around the ground, obviously it helped him that Saha at the other end was going strong. And what I liked about Saha was with Saha, you usually see this. Shots
Three,
on
four
the leg
over.
side, right? But somehow
Uh-huh.
in this game he improvised, he moved towards the leg side and he was hitting over cover and third man. A lot of his shots, if you see, went to a third man. That's why third man is
Third
important.
one.
Uh,
Yes.
yeah. So I think Saha laid the foundation for him, and once Saha got out, I think Sudarshan just flipped a switch and brilliant innings. I mean, everybody who saw that innings was in awe, absolute awe.
It is. Were they winning a final? I mean, the only
Right,
thing missing was 100, which he just missed out, and that was selfless. Also, the kind of way he got out, he could have
right.
easily taken the singles, doubles, he got 100. So that shows the temperament as well and playing for the team. So the next part was the surprising part, where actually I don't know if it's surprising. You would ideally, if this was Mumbai Indians and it was 16 overs, 15 overs, you would think Pandya would be the right person to sit out. Problem with this team is they have people like Miller and Rashid below, especially Rashid, the kind of form he is in, and somehow
Right.
how he gets to time from ball one, any kind of pitch, any kind of bowler. So that was. I knew Pandya would come, honestly, because that's what he did in last year's IPL final as well. I think he came at one down after the base was set. So I mean, I'm a bit confused about the move. I mean, ideally he should have come. He's the captain. He's a hitter, but they had better people who were more in form.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where GT lost out on 10, 15 runs potentially. Because, see, ultimately Pandya's stats look good. I think it's 20 out of 12 balls.
22 of
But
12, yeah.
you need to take into account Sir Deshpande, who was bowling one of those overs. And that guy, we'll discuss him more in detail. And that's where I think Dhoni's brilliance comes. But he's like from that Dinda and Vinay Kumar mold, right? And just a bit faster and he takes more wickets. But he gave Pandya the opportunity to get some runs, and ultimately that's what cost him. Patirana pulled it back well at the end. So all in all, good total. I mean, IPL final you get 214. I
Yeah.
think you take it with both hands. There are no regrets. And GT's bowling attack being the three top wicket takers in IPL. I think it was pretty obvious. Now then, that's where the luck comes. Now the rain happens. We don't know if the match is going to happen,
Yeah,
and
just to
it
add on
just
that
happened.
Pandya's point, I think the thing was there were 4 overs left and there were 8 wickets in hand, right?
It is.
So if you recollect in that phase, the first 7 balls he just got 8 runs, right? And then as you said, Deshpande's over helped him and he got 14 of the next five to take it to 22 of 12. But anybody in that situation, let's say, had it been a Rashid, had it been a Miller, or had it been a Tewatia, I'm sure with 8 wickets in hand of the last 4 overs, they would have got 30 of 12. And in
Hmm.
such close matches, 10 runs is a huge margin. So I'll be a little more critical in my analysis. I think Pandya should have put the team before him. I think maybe it was a little bit of an ego boost. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the Pandya of old. You remember the Pandya of old, right? Maybe
The
four,
moment
five
is
years
one.
back.
Yeah.
First ball itself, he could go big. But even
Yeah,
we
yeah.
saw in the India Pakistan game, if you remember the T20 World Cup,
Oh,
credit
the
to him from
40 of
31 for
41.
4. He stitched a
Uh-huh.
partnership with Virat. But at the end, his shots were just not connecting. It was Virat's
Yeah.
innings which got us, over the
True.
line.
Yeah, yeah.
So Pandya doesn't hit as much as he thinks he can hit now, and he's now in this frame of mind where I think he's trying to emulate Dhoni, right? In
Everywhere.
terms of the culture building for the team, he's been very candid about that. Plus the batting. So I don't know if it's a physical limitation or a mental limitation. Right
Hmm.
now, he goes into accumulation mode first and then goes hitting later. But sometimes the situation demands that you go hard from the first ball, which it was in this inning.
Agree, agree. Maybe the back injury plays a part on this, and then he just
Right,
turns up. And you mentioned Dhoni, so yeah, he also promotes himself in crunch
right,
moments. I think he also promoted himself. So CSK innings, then ultimately rain happened, everything happened, and I was just hoping it's not a 5 over match because that would just be not worth it, right?
right.
Anybody winning would not be a worthy champion. So thankfully, everybody was at it. The super stoppers, all the technology you could see for drying grounds was used, and finally we get our match starting at 12:10 a.m. in the morning, and it's 172 odd chase in 15 overs. So it's tougher in terms of required run rate, I guess. But again, it's 10 wickets,
You have
15
10 wickets
overs,
in hand, yeah.
wet ground. So your two major spinners get nullified. So it everything was in CSK's favor to start with. And then again, the openers did what they do. They got a very good start, and Conway was brilliant as expected. Because on those pitches, Conway will be like pretty massive, and Gaikwad supported him equally. So I could nearly see them coasting through. But then came the funny part wherein there were two spinners, and you would have guessed, okay, who's going to get hit today? You would have said Noor, but then turns out the mentor got hit, and the mentee overcame the mentor today. So Rashid got the very crucial over. That was the fourth over, the power play, last power play over, and they went after him as expected. And I think credit to Hardik, he always uses Rashid when he knows, this over is going to be the crunch one, where
Correct.
wickets might be taken versus runs
Make
to
or
be
break
scored.
over, right? Yeah.
Make or break over. So he got thrown out in that over. I think it was 4 overs, 50 odd or something. Very good run rate. So Noor surprised me because he knew the ball wasn't turning. So he pitched it on a length, like not very full, not very short, obviously.
Right.
And he was very good, like 3 overs for 17, 2 wickets. So he pulled them back massively. I believe that should have been the match. And I was expecting Rashid to come back and be the champion that he is. So the funny thing is, again, who comes out in number three? Now, again, one of those promotions which you question, right? So you think Dubey was the right option at number three at that situation?
Uh, I think what CSK went into the mindset was so as you said, 52 runs after 4 overs. Brilliant start from Gaikwad and Conway, and when the wicket fell, I think they were 70 for one in the sixth over. So that was when the
Hmm.
spinners were bowling. So I think the thought process was Dubey anyway struggles against pacers. When the spinners are there, let him go for it. Even if he fails,
Hmm.
then later you have all these guys, right? Rahane and Raidu. Credit to him, I think he did take on the spinners, right? And he hit
He
two sixes
tried.
of, yeah,
Uh,
he did two sixes of Rashid, which proved to be quite handy in the end. But yeah, it was a weird innings. I think initially he took some time to get going. Then in between he hit a few sixes and fours. Again in the end, last seven balls he just got seven singles. So it was a very strange innings, but at the end of the
mhm.
day, I think CSK won't complain. They got over the line. But had they lost, then there would have been a lot of scrutiny on that innings.
Definitely. And he should credit the two old boys now. Coming to the people I think who changed the match. First was Rahane. So Rahane comes out at four. And you're wondering why is he coming at four now again? Because you have Moeen Ali down. You have Jadeja, right? So you're wondering, okay, Rahane is not the right person because Dubey was struggling at that time. But credit again, because Little was bowling that time. Rahane is a good player of spin, but against pace, his strike rate in this IPL is I think 230 or something. So the way he just swiped Little for six mid wicket, and then there was a straight six of another. I think it was
Right.
Little only, just a straight punch, and it went for a six. So he gave them momentum, and which was very unexpected, and it helped Dubey to also recover and not be scared. But we came down to 4 overs for 50 odd. Rashid was bowling that fourth over, like the 4 overs from the end basically, and Rashid bowled well. But last two balls, he just missed his length by a bit, and by then Dubey was desperate. He was like just striking. Lappa jo hota
Yeah.
hai na,
Hell
lappe
for
se utha
leather.
utha ke hell wala tha. That's a good term to use. It didn't look anything classy like that, so it was very ugly. So he's managed to hit it because he has that power. So it went for sixes and good. We have 39 of three, which is a very normal total in this IPL because people are chasing 3 overs for 50, 45 on an average. Okay.
True.
Now the funniest thing is the next batsman who comes after Rahane is Raidu. Again, you're thinking, what is happening? Why is Raidu playing? Because I don't think you will remember any innings that Raidu's played in this IPL, which has been like big. It's all been like
Yeah.
20 of 10, or 25 or 12.
Yeah.
And this is this guy's last game, by the way. He's retiring. He's announced that 2 days before. And I'm like, why is he coming now? I mean, if they lose, I mean, every point you're like, if they lose, it's going to be because of this decision, right? The way they are
Correct.
not using Moeen or Jaddu. And this guy then smokes it for a 6-4-6 of Mohit Sharma, of all people. And I think probably that's why matchups also come into picture. Mohit Sharma is a CSK boy to start with, so they are pretty well acquainted. So the way Raidu hit those sixers and boundaries, that just changed the match again. And then he got out, but that's fine because that
Yeah,
16 runs came with Dubey having scored 12 of the previous two balls of the last over. So that entire chunk of five balls gave so many runs that suddenly the required rate seemed achievable. So Rahane gets out. Rahane, sorry. Raido gets out.
Raidu gets it.
Now who comes out? As expected, it is all. It's a 2011 World Cup feeling that okay, he promotes himself, he comes, and I think that at that time I was like, ठीक है अब तो हो जाएगा because this is how it goes for Dhoni. He like Sachin, he ends on a high with a title. प्रमोट भी कर लिया लाइक वर्ल्ड कप फाइनल अब हो जाएगा he'll get it. First ball he gets a golden duck and normally Dhoni has this very famous prod. ठीक है, he'll just put his plant his front foot, he'll just prod and defend or he'll leave even the required rate might be 12-13. So this is the first time I've seen Dhoni aggressively hit a first ball and he actually timed it pretty
He
well.
timed
Jidar
it
if
well.
it
It
was
was a good shot actually. Just that it went
just
straight to the fielder.
straight to
Yeah.
the field. A few inches
Yeah.
here, there, it could have been a boundary. So
Yeah.
Dhoni gets out, stadium is stunned, like as if, and it's in Ahmedabad, right? So it's the
Right.
home team stadium. And it's like Chennai, it's in Chepauk, and people are
Yeah.
losing, and this cameras are going to people, they're crying, praying, everything. And at that point, I'm like, okay, this might be possible. They might lose. So finally, Jadeja comes. And I've been waiting. Now, for once, ironically, Dhoni gets out and Jadeja comes in. All
Yeah.
this IPL has been that one story where Jadeja feels a bit sad, I guess. Ki, मेरे को appreciation नहीं है. So
Like
this
how
was his
Dravid
chance.
used to feel during
Sachin.
Teturuddar days, right? Yeah.
Luckily, Dravid did not get out much if you think about it. It was always that one
Correct.
of the openers,
The
right?
other opener.
We kept
Yeah.
rotating our openers during that phase. So we come to the last two overs, and I think Sami bowled a decent one.
Yeah.
And
He bowled
it it was 13 of last over. Now we are like the last stage. 13 is pretty possible, but who's batting? Dubeji. He's batting against Mohit Sharma. Mohit Sharma fires in four Yorkers, which gives 3 runs. Everything is going down the ground. They're taking singles. Nothing is happening. So at that point, what happened? Now this is where I want your opinion. Also, is there a thing such as overcoaching, or I mean, do you? Because I saw a clear example of that. So
Yeah.
your thoughts on that?
I believe they messed it up there, GT, right? The
Mm,
combination of Nehra and Pandya there. Now, let's say there was a situation where Mohit Sharma maybe got hit for a couple of fours and then maybe five were needed of four. Then, okay,
exactly.
the bowler needs help, you go and help him. But Mohit was in such a good frame of mind. He was nailing those Yorkers, right? Four consecutive Yorkers. He was in the mood. At that point of time, if I was captain, I would have just, captain or
Let him be.
coach. Okay, I would have
Yeah,
let
yeah,
him
yeah.
be. Man, do what you're doing. Okay.
Mm,
Now, when you go and disturb somebody's frame of mind, even if you don't mean to do so, but you want to give something constructive in that frame of mind, then you confuse the bowler, right? That okay, should I try something different? And you could see he got a bit unsettled, and then
yeah.
I mean, it's a matter of inches, right? It was he tried for the Yorker, it became a half volley, and that was enough for
No,
Jadeja to get in, get underneath
under
it
the
and
ball.
yeah,
Mm.
hit it for six. I feel that was not required, and maybe not a maybe the loss was not a direct result of it, but I think somewhere it did play a part.
And that's the point. I mean, the way you said it reminds me of when we give our decks to our managers and they review it and they will just say something because they have to say something because they're a manager and I made the correct thing and I think 1 week later they'll say yeah we can do this which you had originally done and then you're like okay. I think that's what Nehra and Pandya will think in hindsight after a week that okay, we should have let him do what he was doing because the last ball was a clear like a tense ball, it was full down the leg side, your fine leg is up and it
Yeah,
was meant to be a boundary. So I think mentally Mohit Sharma would never have bowled that, but yeah, he freaked out. Anybody would, right? Because you're thinking so clearly, okay, I have to do this. Then somebody says, no, you can try this.
correct.
You do you do that, you get it for six. Now you don't know who to trust, right? And it showed, and it's CSK at the end, right? So
Yeah,
that pressure is always there that okay, kuch na kuch magic ho jayega. And Dhoni
I
was just
mm,
sitting and praying. So, yeah.
I was a bit surprised that he didn't try an outside the off stump Yorker,
Third
right?
man was up.
Uh, yeah, maybe he could have put the third man back and tried that,
Exactly.
because Jaddu, as far as I remember, I mean, he has a very good range of shots on the leg side. Offside is a bit limited,
Swipe.
right? So
Yeah,
they could
yeah.
have maybe kept the third man, straight, I mean,
Especially
yeah,
10 of 2, right? That time,
deep
if you
third
put a wide
man,
Yorker,
yeah, and then a
hitting the
wide
six is very
Yorker,
difficult.
yeah,
Huh.
yeah,
Something what Deshpande was getting all the while. So somewhere the strategy got. I think those four balls also kind of relaxed them. They didn't think so
correct,
hard because they were like, "Ho gaya ab to," right?
correct,
But I think that's where Dhoni's luck happens. This is very reminiscent of that 2007 final. Joginder Sharma, Misbah, and you're like, "Ho gaya match, khatam ho gaya."
correct,
And
correct,
I think the gods have blessed this guy, and he deserves it. In all honesty, with the way he's carried this team from number 9 last year, and with this
mm,
bowling attack,
I
he
know.
got them to the final. He won. So I think some people deserve the
Only
luck.
he
So
could
he
have
got
turned it around, let's be honest, yeah.
so deserved champions. I don't think. I mean, still, if you ask me, GT was the stronger team in terms of the bowling, the batting, and if you make a team of the tournament, honestly, after this IPL, I am sure of only one or two CSK players are coming in there for sure. Not even one will be a long shot because I can think only Patti Rana
Mm,
because of his death bowling. But otherwise, batting wise, you will think Conway and Rituraj have done, but you have openers like Gill, Faf, Jaiswal. So and middle order we have Surya, Green. So every team has very good players, but it's just the sum of the parts added up for CSK, I believe.
right.
So deserve a champions. I think
Yeah.
final thoughts on again, this is Dhoni. I think that's one of the most epic reactions where the emotions were showed finally for that man who was so stoic and was just sitting and he was praying. If you see, he was praying in the
Right.
dugout, closing his eyes. I don't think he saw the last two balls, and I think he was just praying that okay, jate jate ye na ho jaye. Because the funny thing is, CSK has had 10 finals and they have won four of them. So it means they've lost six of them.
Six.
So it's not like
Yeah.
they have a great record like MI. I think has a
Correct.
better percentage.
Correct.
So
In the
this could have
finals. Yeah.
been, and I think he lost one for Pune, or he won that. I'm not remembering. I know one final
The
when
one
Pune was
with
there.
Pune, they lost. They lost.
They
That
lost
one
that one also.
they lost that one.
Exactly. So he has a not a great record. He just makes it there. So the whole reaction, and I think the poetic justice, as I say, right? It's Jadeja who won them, and finally he'll get the recognition and the love that he wants. And I think that might have just helped trigger him to stay in Chennai for the next auctions. I believe if that had not happened, I
Correct.
very strongly felt that he would be leaving, especially if Dhoni is coming back next year. But I think that final and all that love and adulation and that harmony we saw between Dhoni and Jaddu, that was very nice to see. So I think deserving final. I mean, luckily for me, I wasn't supporting anybody. I was just supporting cricket, and by the end, I was supporting Dhoni. That okay, let him win one more, and I don't know if you see him again. So any thoughts on that for next
No,
year?
I think what we spoke about during the course of the tournament and in our previous also, I think we were saying GT was a sure shot for the final. We want to see which team will stop them, and somehow during the tournament we felt that it had to be either a CSK or an MI. Right,
Hmm.
it had to be these two giant teams, and eventually, I think by the looks of it, it came down to CSK because MI still had issues in their bowling,
The
but
bowling.
CSK at least was getting it more well-rounded. Plus the captaincy acumen, right, from
Hmm.
Dhoni. So CSK won it, and let's see now. The interesting part is when Harsha Bhogle interviewed Dhoni in the post match. He did say that he'd take a call 7 to 8 months down the line before the next
Hmm.
IPL because I think he's having a problem with his knees. So
Knee.
he'll have to see whether that will recover. And the harder thing for him to do would be to play next year's IPL, right? The easier thing
Hmm.
would be to retire on a high, but the harder thing would be to come back. So we'll have to see, maybe a 50-50 situation. If he does come back, then it will be interesting. If he doesn't, then it will be interesting whether the
Oh,
next captain will be Jadeja or Stokes. That is a whole new
oh.
different ball game. Yeah.
If Jadeja doesn't get it now, I think he'll leave. Stokes did not even play the tournament. You
I-
gave him so much money. He was sitting on the
yeah,
bench, and Jadeja won you the IPL, and then you say, "नहीं नहीं भाई तुम निकलो, हम
right,
किसी और को बनाते हैं." I mean, with Dhoni, you could not have made anybody as the captain. I agree with that. But now with Dhoni out, you have to give Jadeja a run now. He is your
right,
15 crore retention, right? So even the auctions, I think Dhoni will need to make that call by December. I have a feeling because that's when the mini auction happens. So if if he has to go, then he goes because he leave. Then 12 crores get added to the purse. Otherwise,
true,
he says. And any like there's a lot of intangibles this guy does, which something which stats won't show. It's just that
Yeah.
how he's carried this team through. Deshpande is your highest wicket taker for CSK, and that's a very hard thing to digest.
But
But
he
so was
still has to
Bhuvneshwar.
improve his bowling, man. He
I
has
don't think
to.
you'll. I don't think
I
you'll see him
mean,
next year. I'll be honest about it. Something will happen. He'll get
yeah,
Hangreka ready. Something was up with Hangreka this year. He did not
yeah.
trust him, but I think next year we should see that guy back
I mean,
with
Deshpande
Matirana and
needs to
Deepak.
seriously introspect. I mean, by the looks of it, it may look rosy that
And
he's got 20 plus wickets, but that
Bharat, the
economy
economy rate is 10
10,
plus, man. Oh, 11, I
11.
think.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I mean, he seriously needs to introspect on how he, if he wants to become a star, he seriously needs to think about how he wants to do the death over bowling. Yeah,
Let's see if he makes it to the Indian team. I mean, so many people have made it from CSK to the Indian team because of this transition. Like Shardul would never have made it to Indian team because Dhoni trained him. He became this decent bowler all rounder. Cheher example. That's another one. Mohit Sharma, the biggest example I have, I think, 2015 World Cup, third pacer in the Australian conditions. So uh, credit to the man who just somehow manages to get our talent. I mean, I think he should be part of a lot of MBA lessons where you can harness talent and make them better than they are. And anybody would love to have a manager like him, I guess. So
yeah.
I have like full respect for him and how he carried.
Hopefully, future
He,
India coach someday, many years down the line. Hopefully.
I don't think the thing is he seems so disconnected in life. I don't think he'll even want to be with cricket all the time, right? He just chills
Yeah,
in his farm with his bikes and his horses and all kinds of pets he has. He's a very different person. I mean, that's what I think makes him so unique. He's not a typical Indian cricketer who'll come into punditry and do some jazz to make
yeah.
money is not an object for this
Yeah,
guy,
I
right?
don't see
He's
him
still
becoming a commentator somehow. I don't know.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He's too serious and too genuine. I think he's not flowery at all. He's like very
Yeah.
honestly he'll tell and insult somebody without even trying to.
Yeah.
So love to see him next year. I'll be honest. Even though because somehow you are playing with 10+1 with this guy, but that one he does not bat, but he keeps and he gives you that captaincy and that direction, which is invaluable. And we see in so many teams the captains are struggling, but his captaincy still, just to sum it up, the best captain in the country still.
I agree.
So, my God, I don't. I
Maybe
guess
the
somebody did not
electricity
like
agreed
it,
with you.
or maybe it was a Kohli or Rohit fan who heard this. So yeah, the electricity just went right at the wrong moment. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Intense final, but yeah, love the result. And I wore
Yeah.
yellow for that. I guess I forgot to mention. So yeah, I just was like support Dhoni today. Like okay, good.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So, folks, that is the parting note from us. A great final to cap a great IPL. Lot of fun. 74 matches, all brilliant. I think we could hardly recollect any one-sided matches apart from one
some
of them here or there. I think around at least
RCB
65 to
RCB का
70
नहीं था कोई
matches were
50
two-sided.
58 60 ओवर और आरसीबी का था एमआई का था
RR
एक
no versus RCB.
अच्छा आरआर मेड वंस ओके
Yeah,
ओके नॉट
yeah,
आरसीबी हम आई रिमेंबर आरसीबी का एक मैच था जहाँ पे ऐसा
yeah.
हुआ था ठीक है वंस
Yeah.
इट वाज नॉट आरसीबी फॉर वंस ओके ओके
Yeah, so for once, yeah. So we had a great time reviewing this final. Now look forward to our next episodes, which are important because now that the final is over and all the things have calmed down now we'll be objectively dissecting each team, right? And we'll go very hard, especially at the teams which
what
totally
three
ruined their chances and messed up despite having good squads. So look forward to our review series for each team. We'll be covering all 10 teams, and we love to hear your feedback. We are getting good views. We are getting good comments as well. We are very appreciative of that, and we would love to hear more thoughts from you. So on that thought, we look forward to our next videos and stay in touch. Take care. Bye bye.